Welcome to The Explainer. We're always told that owning a house is the ultimate investment. But what if there was another way? A way to get all the financial upside of real estate without any of the headaches of being a landlord? Today, we're diving into a really cool idea that could totally change how you think about property investing.
All right, so let's just get right to the heart of it. Here's the question that frames our entire explainer today. Would you rather own a $200,000 property outright, or would you prefer a financial contract that just gives you access to its value without any of the burdens of actually owning it? Think about that for a second. So let's talk about ownership versus access. And look, this isn't just some abstract thought experiment. This is a real, practical debate about splitting the financial part of real estate from the annoying part. All the physical responsibilities like fixing a leaky roof, paying insurance, the whole shebang. Okay, to really get our heads around this, let's follow a story. The source material introduces us to a guy named Jeff, and he's standing in front of a $200,000 property, trying to make a big decision. So Jeff's got two paths he can go down, and they are very different. Let's walk through both of them and see what happens. All right, here's the choice laid bare. Path number one, Jeff becomes the owner. He buys the house, gets the deed, the whole 9 yards. His wealth goes up and down with the home's value, but he also gets all the baggage, the maintenance, the insurance, everything. Then there's path two. He's the access holder. Here, he just buys a financial product that's tied to the house's value. He gets the financial exposure, but no calls about a broken toilet. So let's say Jeff goes down the traditional owner's route. Over 5 years, the property's value goes on a bit of a ride. It starts at $200K, goes up, dips a little, and ends at $240,000. Now, on paper, that's a $40,000 gain. Pretty good, right? But, and this is a big but, that's before you subtract all the money he had to spend on upkeep, taxes, insurance. You get the picture. Okay, so what about that other path, the access path? Instead of the house, Jeff would buy something called a Certificate of Deposit and Trust, or CODT for short. Now, what the heck is that? Well, the source material defines it as a financial instrument that basically just mirrors the percentage change in the property's value. Think of it like a financial shadow that follows the house's price tag wherever it goes. And here's how that plays out with real numbers. Let's say the CODI starts at a nice, simple price of $10. You can see in the table it just follows the property's lead. When the house value goes up 5% in year 2, boom, the CODI's price goes up 5% to $10.50. The next year, the house has another big jump, and the CODIs follow suit. It just perfectly tracks those percentage changes year after year, ending up at $12.53. All right, so how does this magic actually happen? How do you tie a digital certificate to a real, physical house on a specific street? Let's peel back the curtain a bit. The whole process is actually pretty straightforward, and it's built on transparency. Step 1, a unique digital instrument is created for one specific property. Then, its value is programmed to move in lockstep with that property's price. But how do you know the price is right? Well, that's step 3. The data is pulled from public sources, like Zillow, so everyone can see it. And finally, you have an issuer, a company like the Guided Market LLC in this example, that manages the whole thing. Now, it's super important to be clear. This isn't a magic bullet. It's not risk-free. The source material is very upfront about this. You've got market risk. If the property market tanks, so does your certificate's value. Duh. You have credit risk. What if the company that issued it goes bust? There's also liquidity risk. It might not be as easy to sell as, say, a public stock. And of course, there's regulatory risk. The government could change the rules at any time. Okay, so we've seen the two paths. We've seen the risks. Which brings us to the core argument of this whole idea. Why just having access to a property's value can sometimes be way better than actually owning the thing. So let's look at the financial scoreboard. Jeff, the owner, ends up with a $40,000 gain in equity. That's a 20% return on his $200,000 house. Not bad. But now, look at Jeff, the access holder. Remember how his CODT tracked those percentage gains? Well, that compounded to a total return of 25.3%. So even before you think about all the money he didn't have to spend on repairs and taxes, his pure financial return was just better. To really drive this point home, the source material gives us this fantastic analogy. It really makes you think. Just imagine this.
There's a security guard, right? He works at a big, fancy building. He's there every day, protecting the property. But here's the twist. He also owns a COT that's tied to that exact building's value. So while he's on the job, he's also financially benefiting as the property appreciates, all without shouldering any of the owner's burdens. He doesn't have to worry about paying for insurance or management or even his own salary. The quote says it all. This position is superior to the actual owner. It really makes you ask, who's got the better deal here?
So this idea about COTs, it's not just some weird one-off concept. It's actually part of a much bigger shift that's happening in finance right now.
Yeah, this is all part of a booming industry called real-world assets, or RWA. And the name says it all. The whole idea is to take physical, tangible things from the real world, like a house, a piece of fine art, even a barrel of oil, and create a digital financial token that represents its value. It's about making everything tradable. And when I say this is a big idea, I mean it's massive. The vision laid out in the source isn't just for a few properties. The goal is to do this for all 144 million homes and buildings in the United States. Just think about that. The idea is to make the value of any property in the country an accessible investment for anyone, anywhere in the world. And that leaves us with this final, kind of mind-bending question. We've been talking about houses this whole time, but what if the value of anything could be turned into an asset, completely separate from the thing itself? What if you could buy a piece of the Mona Lisa's appreciating value, or a 1962 Ferrari, or a rare bottle of whiskey, all without ever having to worry about owning it, storing it, or insuring it? It makes you wonder, what does it even mean to own something anymore?